The wait is finally over. The Steam Machine has been fully revealed. And by fully revealed, I mean we got the price point on it, and there has indeed been some sticker shock. This just went live at the time of this recording, so I'm sure there'll be a lot of reactions and fallout after all of this makes the rounds. But the Steam Machine, not exactly going to be tapping in, I think, to the mainstream. And unfortunately, the current price point that we have, I think, puts it into no man's land. But we're going to take a look at that here today. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. So this is over on Valve's website where all this information went up. They're going to be working to take orders on the Steam Machine. The way it seems to work is that they are going to just have people sign in, put their name in a hat, and then they'll be randomly selecting. Although I'll look a bit more into that for Newswave tomorrow. I'm just on the whole process, if indeed you do want to go ahead and try to order one of these. But we can see here, it is currently coming in at a price point starting at $1,049. And that is, yes, for the 512 gigabyte model. But unfortunately, it gets a little worse in the price point since that model does not come with a controller. And this is something that we've kind of gone back and forth on the idea. Would they actually include a Steam controller, maybe to try to lessen the sticker shock somewhat, and they did not. So if you want to get it with a Steam controller, it's like $60-something more. It comes in then at $1,128. Yeah, so we're above $1,100 for what you would expect, say, a game console equivalent, when it come with a controller. Now, if you want to go up from there and get the 2 terabyte model, it's $1,349. I figured the 2 terabyte model would just be like significantly expensive, okay? Because we've seen what happens with specifically storage or NVMe drives. We just talked about how there is a PlayStation 5 branded NVMe drive that comically the 8 terabyte model is more than $3,000. So even 1 terabyte, if you look online right now, is north of $150. So 2 terabytes, yeah, you're looking at hundreds of dollars just for that storage. So it being $1,350, but then also, if you want the controller for the 2 terabyte, it's $1,428. Now, some early reviews that are coming out are pitting the Steam Machine versus the base PlayStation 5. And if you really think about it, the PS5 Pro, is also cheaper than this Steam Machine. It's actually about $100 less. And if you want to include the controller, then it's bordering on, $200 less. And it has not been favorable for the Steam Machine in like-to-like comparisons. Now, the thing with the Steam Machine, of course, is it has access to PC games, and there are many of them. Not only just, on Steam, but also emulation and the like there. So there's a deep library that the Steam Machine has access to, but when you put it up against a system that starts at $600 with a controller, it's not a great look then for Valve with the Steam Machine here. And the specifications, again, people are lining up versus if you build your own PC. So here with the AMD Zen 4, 6 cores, 12 threads, and the semi-custom AMD RDNA 3 with 28 CUs, that appears to be like an AMD 7600M chipset. They advertise 4K, but a lot of that does rely on the upscaling with FSR, which they actually just pushed an update for FSR, and AMD seems to be supporting the 7000 series GPUs with an updated FSR, I believe 4.1. And I think a lot of that does come down to Valve and AMD working within the bounds of the Steam Machine. And, it's kind of a shame to see this because the Steam Machine, I feel like, was going to be that push, at least it had the potential to be that push into the mainstream, right, for PC gaming. When it was first unveiled, there were talks about maybe this thing could be $500, $600, but then we've watched the market just go up in price consistently since then. And we've even seen word based with like IGN and others who had coverage of the Steam Machine this afternoon, with Valve saying that if you look at what the Steam Deck jumped in terms of pricing, 30 to 40%, you can kind of do the math according to Valve, and that's sort of what our starting point was for the Steam Machine. And if that's the case, it does actually kind of look like they may have been targeting that $700 to $800 price point. And I think if they got it there, like let's say 700, 699.9, no controller, and like, I don't know, 770 or 760 with the controller, I do think that will be much more compelling, as it would come out above the PS5 disc-based model, but below the PS5 Pro. And that without like need to pay online, you can make a case. I just think right now with this situation, it's hard to recommend this at all, because I actually think you can just make like a better PC, even in a small form factor like this with an ITX board, and actually fall back to like DDR4 memory without any real noticeable performance dip, to be honest, and actually spend that budget on a better video card and come out with a better performing machine for that $1,000 price. Honestly, you could probably build it for less. So it doesn't really target the enthusiast well, because they'll just say, oh, I'll spend that budget on building a computer. And then for the mainstream consumer, they're just going to see it as too expensive outright, and maybe fall back on a custom-built PC that they can find maybe during Cyber Monday or Black Friday, or even just look to consoles to fill in that living room space. So sadly, it is a missed opportunity all the way around for Valve, and they're not interested in doing any kind of subsidizing for this device. They've already made that pretty clear. They're looking to at least make some money on this thing, but with rising prices right now, I do wonder if they're just breaking even on this right now, as crazy as that sounds. But just the fact that everybody out there who is making a system has talked about this, it wouldn't shock me if they're struggling even at this $1,050 mark. Now, of course, this also brings up the question of what happens with next generation systems from Sony and Microsoft specifically. Well, that's the other spot that the Steam Machine, again, in no man's land here. It's just not going to be able to compare to what Microsoft brings to the market with Project Helix, or what Sony brings to the market with the PlayStation 6. And sure, those machines could be, like, I think the PS6 is most likely going to be $1,000 machine at this point, just looking across the board at the market and where it's projected to go over the next 12 months. And it seems like it'll just get more expensive before it gets hopefully better with the market. I still think it's going to come out as a significantly more capable machine than the Steam Machine. And I would say if you look at Microsoft with their Project Helix, with this Magnus chip, that will, I think, just completely blow away the Steam Machine. And it'll be able to run Steam, we think, but also just Windows outright and tap into PC gaming. It's kind of like, let's say that device is like $1,200 to $1,300. You might go, well, that one even comes with a controller. I'll spend the extra money if I'm really going to go for it here and just get this Project Helix Magnus device. So just overall unfortunate situation here for the Steam Machine. I think it's just going to miss the mark at this price point. I do think it's going to sell out, and I feel like resellers will at least attempt to get, I don't know, maybe $2,000 for this thing. But I feel like once the enthusiasts, or just people who are curious about the device and want to pick it up for more like hobbyist purposes or just tinkering, I think once that audience has had their fill of the Steam Machine, I don't really know how many people are going to be investing heavily into this device rather than just wait. I mean, if we believe that Sony and Microsoft are going to show up in 2027 with their next devices, honestly, just wait to see what happens with those. So unfortunately, very deflating situation here overall, obviously for Valve, with their Steam Deck starting at like almost $800, and now their Steam Machine starting at near $1,100. It's not a great spot for. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below in the comments, and if you are indeed considering picking up the Steam Machine at this north of $1,000 price point. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.